Tennessee Titans were going to lose that game, but Mike McCoy made sure of it, coaching like an absolute coward.
These are tackles in the open field that absolutely have to be made. And the first one is coming up right here. Xavier Woods outran the angle, missed it. Amani Hooker, can you make a play right there? But the speed of Jonathan Taylor ended up taking a
Ward on 4th and goal. Ward to the end zone, intercepted. Chris Lamons with his second career INT. Colts can do
consistent execution and relentless preparation where everyone in here embraces the grind, right, and leads with purpose. That's what we're chasing, fellas, every day to be the very best. And it's one day at a time.
Here, Indiana move. We from Indiana move. We from Indiana move. I'm an Indiana move.
touchdown, I-N-D-Y. And he lost the ball. There's a fumble. Who's got it? The officials say the Colts do.
Great team win, baby!
Drops it way downfield, intercepted, coming forward and making the INT for the Colts in the back end. To see the Colts win Super Bowl.
Hey, win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
Welcome back to the channel. This is Marcus Sniffles, and we're here to talk about another Colts dominant win, 38-14 over the Tennessee Titans. This win should not be surprising because Shane Steichen does not lose to the Titans. He is a perfect 6-0 against our little brothers down south. But before we get into the breakdown of the game, make sure you guys like, comment, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 900 subscribers before the end of the season. If you guys can hit that sub button, I'd really appreciate it. We're moving on up. We're getting close to our goals. Let's keep going. I feel like this team, this Colts team, and I guess I might be starting off a little bit negative, but it'll turn into a positive. I feel like 4 years ago, this team loses to this Titans team. Like the way the Titans finished the first half where they kind of drove down the field and got in field goal range and they were getting the ball back to start the third quarter. I feel like 5 years ago, this Colts team, they probably would have given up that 3-point field goal. And then they probably would have allowed the Titans to score a touchdown coming out of the half and would have fallen apart. Just would have fell apart completely, even with a big lead against an inferior opponent. That's kind of the mentality that this team had in the previous coaching regime. With Shane Steichen, it's just not, they're not doing that. The Titans try to drive down and score points at the end of the half. They get close within field goal range. It gets, it's a little bit short. They get the ball to start the second half. Ended up punting the ball. Very next play, Jonathan Taylor goes for 80 yards, and it's pretty much over. And you know what? I know I clown the Titans a lot, but I'll shout them out, man. They played pretty hard the first half. Daniel Jones had his first sack on a third down. First sack on third down of the season. It's week 8. And this is the first time he's been sacked on third down. And the Titans played hard. Even though they were down 3 starters, I didn't realize Calvin Ridley was out of the game until they said it. I guess he was a late scratch, but they were missing pretty much all of their good players outside of Cam Ward. And for them to kind of somewhat keep it within 2 scores was impressive until the third quarter where they pretty much laid down and were like, all right, we're pretty much out of this. So I'll give them their credit for that, but that's a bad football team over there. So sucks for y'all. And I think I'm gonna get all the negatives out of the way because there's not a lot of negatives in this game. But I've said this before, just because something happens but you win, you can't ignore bad process. And I don't even want to call it bad process because it has worked effectively throughout the year. And this is kind of the pros and cons when it comes to having a defensive coordinator like Lou Anarumo, who I think has been doing a great job. But they don't call him the mad scientist for nothing. And he does get he gets crazy out there sometimes. Can we stop putting Latu in coverage? Let's especially against bad teams. I know you want to get a little freaky out there, but let's just have him focus on rushing the passer. And it, like I said, I know it sounds crazy because Latu, I think, has 2 interceptions on the year. One of those interceptions came from actually dropping into coverage and making a play. So it's not like Latu can't do it, but I don't want to see Latu running behind tight ends and getting, burnt in pass coverage. That's what our linebackers are for, because even in this game, they were getting picked on. They were victims out there. We have I think I've mentioned this before, but if this Colts offense played this Colts defense, it would really show how bad our linebacker coverage really is. Tyler Warren and Josh Downs would eat these guys alive for 4 quarters. And there's other teams that are seeing this, they're watching this. And it's hard to kind of take full advantage of them when we have one of the better pass rushers and we're really great at getting pressure. We had 4 sacks today. It's hard to kind of just pick them apart all game, but the weakness on this defense is the pass coverage by the linebackers. Like, they are the ones that are getting exposed throughout this game. And I said on the last video that this should be a game for the young cornerbacks to really get an opportunity to be one-on-one out there and to try to make plays. Like Mekhi Blackman, Chris Lamons, they played really well today. They played really well. Like, Chris Lamons got a turnover. That's 8 games in a row where this defense has had a takeaway. Mekhi Blackman didn't really get picked on. I think he gave up 1 or 2 catches, but he was right there with the receiver, making plays, making tackles, going for the ball. And they're getting, that's how you get better. You got to get experience, you got to get play time, and you have to be out there on the field to get better. And there's a possibility that Jalen Jones comes back next week. And then 2 weeks from now, we get Javarius Ward back. These next few weeks, especially for Mekhi Blackman and Chris Lamons, if they continue to go out there as cornerback 1 and 2 and play and make plays for us, this defense, this pass defense, is going to be special once Jalen Jones and Javarius Ward get back. They're only going to get better. They're only getting experience. And they didn't get, like, we didn't hear their names for most of the broadcast until Lamont got that interception. As long as Mekhi Blackman stays on his feet, he's good in coverage. He can run with anybody. I like these guys. I really like these young guys, and I think our secondary is gonna drastically improve throughout the year. Now, one stat that I heard on the broadcast that I should have known was true, but didn't really think to look into it, is the Colts offense leads the league in passing in the first half and leads the league in rushing in the second half. And that just goes back to Shane Steichen's like mantra of, you throw to score, you run to win. And he really believes that. That is really that's how they operate. If you watch the Colts in the first half of the game, they are throwing it all over the place. That's all they do. They come out of the gates and throw the ball. And then once the game is kind of in hand or they're ready to close it out, Jonathon Taylor. We're going to talk a little bit more about Jonathon Taylor a little bit later, but let's talk about this passing offense. Another stat that I wasn't aware of was that we have yet to have a 100-yard receiver. I could have sworn Alec Pierce had a 100-yard game at some point this year, or maybe Tyler Warren. Michael Pittman was 5 yards away from having a 100-yard game. If you don't have like a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Trace, Amaron St. Brown, or one of those, elite wide receivers, then who do you double on this offense? Do you double Michael Pittman Jr. and risk Alec Pierce going over the top? Do you double Alec Pierce to prevent him from beating you over the top and risk Tyler Warren doing what Tyler Warren does on tight end day, National Tight End Day? Do you double Tyler Warren and then you have Josh Downs killing you on third downs? What, as a defensive coordinator, who do you key in on in the passing game? Who's the one guy you have to look at and be like, okay, I have to stop that guy? Because at least on the Vikings, you can look at Justin Jefferson and say, okay, we can't let that guy beat us. Maybe someone else might, but that other guy usually isn't as good as Justin Jefferson. So the likelihood of that other guy beating you isn't likely. With this Colts wide receiver group, they're all like B plus to A minus wide receivers. So they're just good enough to beat you or to make a back-breaking catch on you. Like that catch in the end zone Michael Pittman had, just disgusting. The deep balls that Alec Pierce can get, you can't really stop that. Josh Downs, when it's 3rd and 8, he's gonna get 10. When it's 3rd and 5, he's gonna get 7. Even Ashton Doolin, he'll still go out there and make plays, but not much today. Tyler Warren, the same thing, best tight end in the league. You have to account for that. So where do you roll your coverage to? At that point, it's almost like you're guessing. You're guessing because as a defensive coordinator, if I'm playing against Justin Jefferson, I know where I'm rolling my coverage to. I know who I'm putting my best cornerback on. I know who the safety's kind of shading towards. With this offense, I don't know where to go. There are too many answers in this Colts offense. And then you have a legit monster in the backfield. The best running back in the NFL. The best running back. Like, I don't want to take what Jonathan Taylor has been doing for granted. These last 5 weeks, he's been on an entirely different level. Week 5, 20 touches, 86 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Week 6, 25 touches, 137 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Week 7, 19 touches, 132 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Week 8, today, 14 touches, 174 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 reception touchdown. That is insane. And he's doing that. He only had 1 game where he had 25 carries or 25 touches, but he's doing this in like 20 to 22 touches, dominating the game without having to carry the ball like 28 to 30 times. He's making big plays. He's playing the game a little bit slower, finding the correct holes and exploding through them. It's like if Le'Veon Bell was bigger and faster. That is the thing that Jonathan Taylor has added to his game. Following his blockers, because he has great blockers. His vision has improved. His footwork has improved. He's still big. He's still fast. He's still quick. He's still shifty. And I'm not going to take this for granted. I'm going to enjoy, like, I never get tired of watching Jonathan Taylor run. I never get tired of him running behind Quentin Nelson or him running behind Tanner Bortolini or Gonzalez or Braden Smith, any of those guys. Bernie, all the guys up front have been doing a fantastic job. And you've got to give Chris Ballard a lot of credit. He drafted all 5 of those starting linemen. He drafted Jonathan Taylor. He drafted all these wide receivers that are good at blocking. The tight ends, Mo Alley Cox, Drew Ogletree, Tyler Warren, they're all great blockers. This is an old school team that puts up a lot of points also. Like this offense is incredible to watch. It's an old school run it down your throat kind of team. These guys go out there and they block hard, and they block you until the whistle blows. Maybe a little bit after the whistle, but this is a hard-nosed team, and they're playing great. Offensively, everybody is in sync. Shane is in sync with his play calling. The offensive line, they're moving like one singular unit. Jonathan Taylor is healthy. He's seeing the ball. He's seeing the field perfectly, making all the correct moves. I don't think he's fumbled all year. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a fumble. He's just a dominant player. And you put a dominant player behind a dominant offensive line, how do you stop that? Because once again, we have a lot of B plus to A minus receivers. So you have to take them into consideration. We also have an A plus tight end. You have to take him into consideration. We have an A plus offensive line. We have the best running back in the league. We have I would say a B plus quarterback. How do you stop this offense? I don't know. No one has been able to do it. We have been one of the best offenses of all time. We're up there. The numbers that we're putting up are in the conversation with like the undefeated Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. Like we're putting up insane numbers. And if our uniforms look like the Detroit Lions uniforms, or our quarterback was named Justin Herbert, a lot of people would look at this team drastically different. But the Colts haven't been good for the last few years. Daniel Jones has not been good for the last few years. So a lot of people aren't going to look at them the same way that we are looking at them. And that's fine. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. When we play bad teams, we blow them out. Daniel Jones didn't play most of the fourth quarter. Jonathan Taylor wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. A lot of our vets weren't playing in the fourth quarter because the game was over. One last thing on Jonathan Taylor. Do you guys remember how T.Y. Hilton used to terrorize the Texans? Like every time that we'd play the Texans, T.Y. Hilton would get like 140 yards and 2 touchdowns and just terrorize that entire franchise. That's what JT is for the Titans. Like JT goes in there. He's had 3 touchdowns against them 3 games in a row. They have 0 answers for him. I would feel sorry for them, but they're the Titans, so screw them. I don't care. Suck it. Remember 3 or 4 years ago when there was a possibility that we might have traded Jonathan Taylor because, Chris Ballard was hesitant on paying him or extending him? Remember that? Where would we be if not for Jonathan Taylor right now? I know the MVP award is a quarterback award. I know this. But still, let's be for real. If anybody on this team should be in the conversation for the MVP, it's Jonathan Taylor. Respectfully to Daniel Jones, who has been playing well. But this team runs literally on Jonathan Taylor. And it was nice that Jonathan Taylor did what he did as far as dominating and putting the game away, because we did get to see a lot of the young guys play, especially like JT Tuimoloau. Cam Mitchell got to play today. JT actually, I think he had a really good rep on a pressure on Cam Ward. Cam Mitchell, he was out there running around trying to make plays, but the fact that the younger guys are able to get in the game and kind of try to make a name for herself, try to get some experience, try to get some reps, it's never a bad thing, especially for defensive players. But either way, another dominant win for the Colts. 38 points. This is like we average 30 points a game on offense. So I'm not going to take what Jonathan Taylor's doing for granted. He is, I believe, second all time in Colts history in terms of rushing touchdowns. He's only behind Edgerrin James, and for me, Edgerrin James is a top 5 running back of all time. So for Jonathan Taylor to be right behind Edge in a historical context really puts into perspective of how great of a season and career Jonathan Taylor has had in Indy, and I'm so glad he's on our team. And like I've said this before, go look at the draft where he was drafted at. The Kansas City Chiefs picked a running back 2 spots before the Colts picked Jonathan Taylor. Imagine Jonathan Taylor on the Chiefs right now. Imagine that. That would be terrifying. And I'm so glad that they passed up on him and we were able to draft him. That's going to be one of those historical what ifs, just like Colston Loveland getting drafted over Tyler Warren. So shout out to the Colts for dominating the woeful Titans. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 900 subscribers. We're trying to get there before the end of the season. We drop videos every Monday, 7 in the morning. Make sure you guys like and comment. See you on the next one. Go Colts.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
If you made it this far, if you have not liked the video at this point, what are you waiting for? Just like the video. Hit the like button right now. I'm talking to you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe and drop a comment. All that stuff. This is a threat. Not a threat, a warning. But it could be a threat. Just do it.